What's up, BeatStars family? Jamil here, back with another video showing you guys how to create licenses and contracts and give you guys some tips on the best practices for how to get these set up. To create a license, the first thing you're going to want to do is go over to the My Media section in your account and go down to Licenses and Contracts. So this is the Licenses and Contracts page. Here it clearly outlines all of your non-exclusive licenses and your exclusive license. A couple of important things to point out here before we get started on actually creating and editing a contract is that on free accounts, you're only going to be able to have 2 contracts, and on a marketplace account, you're going to be able to have 4. Right now, I'm on a pro page account, so I have unlimited contracts. These licenses are all set up for us by default to guide us in the right direction, but we can go ahead and edit all of them and customize them to our likings. So let's edit this basic MP3 license. To do that, just go over to this pencil icon and press the edit button. Now we're on the license edit page. This is where we can change all the settings for our license. I'll just take you guys through section by section to point out some things. So first, in license type and name, we can change this license name to whatever we want. Just to keep things simple, since this is going to be an MP3 license, I'm just going to call it MP3 license. Here you could set a minimum offer price. This is optional because if you don't want to enable offers on this license, you could just set a default price, which is what most people do. Here's where we set our default track price. Usually MP3 licenses are around $30, but you can set this to whatever you want. If you want to set a lower price, this could be a good tactic while you're still getting your feet wet to attract more customers. If you're more experienced and you want to set this higher, you're free to do that as well. I'm going to keep this license at $29.95 to give myself some room later for my more expensive licenses that include more files, which I'll explain a little bit more about later. Here you could choose whether you want to enable this license or not. We're going to leave this at yes. And then next is where we include the files to deliver when this license is purchased. So this is basically asking you which files are going to be included with this license. We already decided that this is going to be an MP3 license, and an MP3 is always the minimum. It's going to be included with every license type, and you can choose whether to also include the WAV file or track stems. I'm going to save the WAV file and track stems for my more expensive licenses, so we're just going to leave this one at just MP3. You can choose whether to tag your beat or leave it untagged upon purchase. We recommend leaving this untagged as this is what most customers will expect when they purchase the license from you. Here we have some optional information for you to enter. These sections are directly related to your pro page, and I'll show you how those work later. You can enter a brief description of your license that'll be included in the licenses section of your pro page here. Let's just say this is our test license. And then you could enter a feature list. This will be a bullet point breakdown of some of the key features in your license. I recommend filling this out if you guys have a pro page plan. Let's say includes MP3, and then we'll put a space for the next one, and then we'll say lots of streams. So we'll have that example there, and we could check that out later after we save this license. Next section here is where we're going to be able to customize our contract. So BeatStars has this amazing feature where you can do quick customization, and you can plug in all these numbers depending on what you decide to include, and it'll automatically enter them into this professionally drawn up contract. You are also able to do full customization and edit this contract any way you like it, but we definitely recommend using the quick customization features because this is professionally drawn up, and you could just enter the numbers and it'll plug them into all the necessary spots. If you do enter this full customization, it might interfere with entering numbers into the proper spots, so we definitely recommend using quick customization. The numbers you decide to include for each of these categories is completely up to you. But just something I want to point out to you guys to keep in mind when you're drafting up all your contracts is to make sure that you're structuring these contracts in a way that when people buy your more expensive licenses, it also includes higher numbers in each of these sections. So you want to make sure that if you're charging people more money, you're not only giving them more files, but you're also giving them more freedom to do more things with these files, like increasing the number of distribution copies or increasing the number of audio streams. Because if people are spending more money, you definitely want to give them more product for their money. And also to give them incentive to people that purchase your cheaper contracts to come back and upgrade their contracts later because they want more of these streams or they want to make more music videos. So you definitely want to keep that in mind when structuring these contracts. Now we're going to enter our state or province and country. I am in Texas, so I'm going to hit Texas here. I'm going to scroll down to the United States. And then you can review your contract variable references again. And once we're done with that, all we have to do is hit Save Changes. Cool. So it was updated successfully. What you want to make sure you do after you update any license is you're going to want to go back to the licenses page and go to that license and hit Apply to all tracks. This is going to make sure that those new settings are applied to all your tracks that have that license available. Before we move on, I want to point out a couple of key differences between non-exclusives and the exclusive license. So you can only have one exclusive license on your page, and it'll be over here. The reason you can only have one is because after you sell an exclusive, the track is immediately removed from your page automatically. So this is your exclusive license here, and we can go ahead and edit it. Just like with non-exclusive licenses, you could also edit the name of your exclusive, although I do recommend leaving the name as exclusive license because you want to be extremely clear to all your potential customers which license type is the exclusive. A very important key difference is that for exclusives, we recommend leaving it as make offer only. The reason for this is because out of the gate, you don't know how well your beat is going to sell. And if you set a default price for your exclusive, you may be undervaluing your beat if it makes a lot of sales. So we definitely recommend leaving it as make offer only so you can control how much you sell it for, and people can only make offers depending on what you set your minimum offer price as. So if you know that you're not going to want to let go of the exclusive license for, let's say, under $300, you can go ahead and set that as 300, and when people start offers with you, they have to start at 300 and go up, and you're able to either accept that or decline that, depending on however you want. Last thing I want to suggest in exclusive licenses is that if you have them, make sure you include all file types. So you're going to want to include your MP3, your WAV, and your track stems if you have them. Because people are buying the exclusive, you want to give them everything possible. Now let's go ahead and hit Save Changes. And then let's go back to licenses, and just like before, we're going to hit Apply to all tracks again to make sure this is applied. Now the next thing I want to do is just enable this license real quick. So now we have all of our licenses enabled. And now I can go show you guys what it looks like on our profile. Okay. Here's our track. Let's go ahead and press this price button to see all of our available licenses. Okay, here's our MP3 license we created and our premium license. Now, if you're asking what happened to our other licenses like our Premium Plus, our Unlimited, and our Exclusive, these aren't available because for this track, I don't have all the proper files uploaded for those licenses. So if you're missing any licenses on your tracks after you publish them, this is a common reason why. So I'll show you guys for this track. I only have a WAV and an MP3 uploaded. And for these licenses, I promised that we're including track stems as well. So you need to make sure you have all the files uploaded according to what your license promises in order to have those licenses available for sale. Because you can't sell something that you don't have. To show you guys how to quickly fix that, I'm just going to go ahead and upload the zip files for that track. Let's go into the track metadata, and we get a nice little warning here actually letting us know that we don't have all the files necessary for some of our licenses. So if you ever see that, make sure that you rectify that. So I'm going to pull up my uploads and then drag this zip file into the proper section. Now it's linked to my beat. And let's publish that. It was successfully updated. Now I'm going to go back to my profile. And let's click on this pricing button again. And now all the licenses are available. The last thing I need to show you guys is how that brief description and license features list that we set earlier looks on our pro page. So I have my pro page open right here, and let's just visit it. This is a brand new pro page, so hopefully yours looks a little bit more designed and customized than this. But if we scroll down, we could see the license info section. And for our MP3 license, right underneath the price, we could see our brief description and then our checklist in bullet points. So if you guys fill out those sections, this is what it'll look like. And you can see that since we didn't set it for the rest of them, those don't appear there. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any more questions, you could always email support@beatstars.com. Thank you.